Chapter 17. You are the center of the universe. An education. John Taylor Gatto writes in Chapter 14 of his book, The Underground History of American Education. In materially evidentiary terms, the sun is at the center of the solar system, not the earth, and the solar system itself is lost in the endless immensity of space. I suppose most of you believe that. How could you not? And yet, as far as we scientifically know to date, only planet Earth looks as if it were designed with people in mind. I know that Carl Sagan said we'll find millions of populated planets eventually, but right now there's only hard evidence of one. As far as we know, you can't go any place but Earth and stay alive for long. Planet Earth is most definitely not the center of your personal life. It's merely a background which floats in and out of conscious thought. The truth is that both psychologically and spiritually, you are the center of the solar system and the universe. Don't be modest or try to hide the fact. The minute you deny what I just said, you're in full flight from the responsibility this personal centrality entails, to make things better for the rest of us who are on the periphery of your consciousness. I found that to be a moment of, so this is where I begin. I found that to be a moment of profundity in a book focused on mining the history of where the failed public education system in the United States came from. I don't even have much to add. It seems to me the bridge to unite the extreme universe poles of scientism and flat Earth. As always, balancing of extremes is the path of great truth. I guess and this is where my commentary begins. I just thought that little excerpt from John Taylor Gatto's book about education was just, it sort of says everything I wanted to say about, the extremes of flat Earth and globe Earth. Flat Earth is just not taken seriously. John Taylor Gatto is probably not thinking about flat Earth. He's making a philosophical observation. But from my awareness of flat Earth movement, at the core of it it's not really about, is the Earth flat? It is what John Taylor Gatto said. It is that there's a great truth that you are the center of the universe. It doesn't matter if it's flat or a globe. I think, I might go with the scientific proofs that it's a globe. But, as I said in the Flat Earth chapter, it's a globe, and that makes everything more splendid that you're the center of the universe. Like, maybe Flat Earth is a less complex view of the world. But the heliocentric model or the globe model of Earth, of how the universe actually works, the scientific model, means that, it seems staggeringly complex, and yet you're still the center of it, philosophically, as far as you know. And I think why that's important is because so often it seems that the scientific model is meant to reduce the importance of your consciousness, of your individuality. Everything is meant to demonstrate that you really are a speck of dust, that you have no impact or worth in this universe. However, if you just examine your consciousness, if you just examine and if you recognize the evident truth that all you really can know is what is your experience. If you bring in game theory into this, like you couldn't disprove that nothing else exists except yourself, which is solipsism, which is not what Gatto is suggesting we embrace. However, in terms of that solipsistic view, that you can't disprove the solipsistic view either, that nothing else exists except you. I'm a big fan of, I haven't read David Icke's books, but I like some of his, I've watched a lot of video of his thoughts on consciousness in the universe. And I do like how he keeps bringing back this point that, we are each a point of attention of a one consciousness. Like we as individuated beings we only get that one point of attention. But in the greater mind, it's a mind that can have infinite points of attention. So in that sense, we are all one. So in that sense, we might have the experience of being the only point, the only conscious being. But we kind of, on the other hand, I think we all intuitively know that that's not the case. We are one of millions. Maybe we are a speck of dust in terms of consciousness, except that we are part of the entirety of consciousness, and that's what makes us so important. I think every sentient is part of that greater mind. It's just that humanity has evolved to recognize this. Humanity has evolved to recognize, as far as we know, nothing else can contemplate the universe like the human mind. So I think it's just worth recognizing how miraculous and how powerful and how mysterious our minds are. That we exist. And I think, I think, as I say in the last paragraph of my own thoughts in this chapter, I think you kind of do need the hard analytical science from a functional standpoint. Like you need to recognize the proofs of science that you can find. But at the same time, you need to spiritually balance it with the mystery, a recognition that that's not all there is. I think that's the problem of scientism, is that because it doesn't, it can't really analyze proofs of consciousness. It kind of just reduces everything to the analytical. But you kind of know from your own intuition that it's just leaving a lot out. Like you can't actually reduce the universe that is your own mind. And where I'm leaving off is just you need to balance those things, and that's how we navigate the world. Like science and data and all this stuff, it's going to tell you one thing. That might be right, but don't discount your own intuition when you're making decisions. There is, don't discount how important you are, and that the mystery of why you might be motivated to act a certain way, or let's say you have a moral feeling about something. Don't discount that feeling based on the data. Weigh them both, and it's very possible that when making decisions, you can align both of them and arrive at a correct decision. And I think that'll do it for today. And I highly recommend you do check out John Taylor Gatto's book, The Underground History of American Education. It's just a great book. And that'll do it for today. Thank you.